Just a quick note before we get started. Depending on your screen width, DeepZoom operates on either a single column or double column mode. This video focuses on the single column mode. Let's start with time. Everything in DeepZoom is aware of time. Tides and currents, the sun and the moon, weather, historical wind direction and strength probabilities, and of course your position along a route or along multiple routes. Any or all of these can be active simultaneously. It's kind of like everything everywhere all at once. You control time by dragging the time slider back and forth, or you can hit play and change the rate here. By default, the animation duration is set to 1 day, but let's change that by clicking on the time readout at the bottom of the screen. This shows the animation duration dialog. If you choose a number of days, the animation begins on the day selected on the calendar and runs for that many days. The month or year options are great for visualizing how global wind patterns change throughout the year, or how tides and currents change due to the lunar cycle. But more often, you probably want to work with routes. So choose all routes generally, or if you just want to follow a particular route, choose selected. You'll notice that right now the map is stationary and it isn't moving along with the route position. But if you click the lock button, the map will track the current route position. So, how do you create and use routes? So the first thing to learn is that the trash can here at the top center removes all existing routes and markers and starts you off with a clean slate. Then you open up the routes tool and just start clicking on your waypoints. Here we're going into Bowman Bay and double click the endpoint to finish the route. So we're going to name this Bowman Bay, and we're departing on the 20th. Okay, and what time do we want to leave? Let's say we're going to leave at 9 a.m. Our speed is good, color's good. Okay, so already we have the first route. Drag it back and forth. Okay, now we're going to add a second route. And also departing here from Bowman Bay. Oh, we got to fix that because we're going over some rocks. We don't want to do that. And we're going through the rather interesting currents of Deception Pass. And then out and around to Hope Island. So we're calling this Hope Island. And we're departing on the 21st. Close. We're departing at 9 a.m. And we're going to change the color of this route just to distinguish it. Now, the only time that you can add or edit routes is when this dialog is open. As soon as you close it, all the points and routes become locked. You can click on a route and view the details and adjust anything you want. And this is basically the same set of controls that you have here, just more convenient on a touch screen. Okay, so let's view our route now. So we're starting out here at Skyline Marina, going in, and there's a problem as we go through Deception Pass. The currents are against us, 3.2 knots. Not very good in a kayak or most sailboats, so let's see how we can fix that. Adjust the departure time. You can see that if we depart anytime after 3:30 p.m., the current's going to be going with us, or earlier in the day, if we depart around 6 a.m., we can also make it through the passage. You can delete a route here, look at the total distance in miles. If you want to add markers, you can just click the top button, or same thing, just click the button here and add a marker at the center of the screen. Okay, let's go back to this rock issue. To edit it, we have to open the routes dialog, and then we can easily reposition or add more waypoints or cut the route in half or delete a particular waypoint. To jump back and forth between routes, you can just hit the arrows and you'll go to the beginning of the previous or the next route. So it makes it easy to jump around and look at your entire trip. Also note that you can load this trip by searching for public trips in this area and just open it up. How do you select and view objects in DeepZoom? Well, there are multiple ways, but the easiest thing to do is to just click on something. The name of the object selected will flash briefly, and this button will change to the type of object selected. You can then just click the button to view the details. This works for tide stations, which are the little yellow and gold circles, and for currents, which are green arrows for incoming or flooding currents, and are yellow for outgoing or ebbing currents. For routes, and markers, and for tracks, and for NOAA buoys. Buoy information is automatically updated every 5 minutes, and unlike everything else in DeepZoom, is not affected by the time slider. And for Wikipedia. The buttons along the upper left-hand side of the map toggle visibility of the principal layers in DeepZoom. Satellite, on and off, nautical charts, on and off, historical wind direction and intensity, and tides and currents. You can also control the opacity of these layers in the Layers dialog. And here you can also decide which, if any, of the public markers you want displayed on the map. If animation time is within the forecast window, buttons will appear along the left-hand side of the map, which allow you to toggle on and off NOAA GFS predictions for wind, temperature, and rainfall. A circle is always shown at the very center of the screen, and this is the point for which weather values are dynamically updated, and as well as the point at which latitude and longitude are shown in the upper left-hand corner of the display. A directional arrow will show which way the wind is blowing, even when the wind layer is hidden. A trip is the container which stores all of your routes and settings and tracks and private markers. Trips are saved to the cloud so that you can access them from anywhere. Notice that you can change the departure date for the entire trip, and all of the routes will be adjusted appropriately. You can share a link to a trip via social media or to the clipboard right here. Trips can be enriched with text, images, and videos. You can share your current view and settings using the link button. No need to save a trip. The value of DeepZoom is partly in its portrayal of tides and currents and NOAA information, but an even more important part is the value added by users in the form of comments and videos and annotations, favorite anchorages. You can add your own public markers, and the more we all contribute, the greater DeepZoom becomes.